Hello, hello, hello. It's your new day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Cami Owen, where we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one. And maybe it's yours. In our 30 minutes, we talk about your emotions and mind and how they tie into your body and spirit. We want you to renew and restore yourself in a world that wants you crazy. And sometimes we even talk about money. Introducing your hosts, Donna Reiners and Dr. Cami Owen. Well, hello, hello, hello. This is Donna Reiners and
Dr. Cami.
And we're so glad you're here with us. And today's topic is say, shut up to shut down. And I just have a couple stories, and we're gonna try to talk to each other, but talk to you at the same time. You know me, there's no ceremony. So years ago, I belonged to this organization where we showed up every week, and I had been through a really difficult time emotionally, where my friends had just left. Just all of a sudden, I had a diagnosis that I did not receive. I love the way I said that. Did you notice that? I didn't say I received. Oh my. But I had a diagnosis I did not receive. But it was troubling at the same time because of all the things that happened physically that then I had to face, and the different tests and things and measurements and things that doctors want to put you through. And I really went through this spiraling, but I didn't realize it. I just didn't know. And one day, I was walking down the hallway, and this man by the name of Bo, we used to have the little saying, Bo knows. He was in his 70s. And he came up to me and he just said, you know, Donna, and just out of the blue, he said, you know, Donna, that it's one thing to be in depression, but it's another thing to come out of despair. And I looked at him, and he said, that's a very difficult thing to come out of. And I said, okay. And he walked away. I thought, well, wow, all righty. And at the time, you know, I don't know how long I'd really had this stronger relationship with God than I'd had previously, but it had this resonance inside me. So I began to ponder that, and I realized I had dipped into a really dark place, but I didn't know. Because, you know, it's like the frog being heated in the water. You don't know it's happening to you. And I realized I was in a very deep place. And it took me 2 years to come out of it. Wow. And so, you know, I took incremental steps. And there are some people that just come out of something really quickly. The other day I was talking with a friend, and she'd been in a little bit of depression just for a few days, although her life could be in that direction for years because of her experiences and things. And she just woke up and said, I'm done with this. And they went out and they did this, la, la, la. I was very proud of her. And I do more of that now. But then I was in the mode of, okay, why am I in the darkness? Which we're not in the darkness, but at the time, why am I feeling this darkness, and how do I come out of it? Because I like steps. I like process. I like the renovation. I'm like, okay, well, where's this going? Where's this going? Oh, look at what this opens up. Because probably part of my calling in helping other people. So it took me 2 years to fully come out of that, where I was standing up and no longer just moving toward isolation. And it took a bit. It took a bit, you know. And so I know Dr. Cami's going to share part of it. I just want to encourage you to if you're that person that maybe you don't realize you have some darkness happening in your life. Because, you know, this is the thing, though. This is what I believe now. I could be cattywampus crazy. But I believe we all got a little bit of something that we can't see just right, but we think we see it all. And like you were saying earlier before the show, she's talking about how someone had a different angle regarding something. for her. And she's like, oh, it made a huge difference. But she didn't see that because someone else had a perspective. Someone else had an energy toward it, had some knowledge toward it, which she had that knowledge, but she needed that knowledge reminded to her, oh, this is impacting me. So I just want to encourage you right now, if you would just listen moving forward, perhaps if you're in darkness or you think you're in darkness, you can see it and step out of it, or begin the process of renovating your mind so that there is no longer anything in there to pull you back into it. Because that's why I like processes. I don't think it's, woo, yay, I'm good today. I think it's, oh, yay, let's be good for the next 20 years. So that's why my message is a little different than the people that just want to pop off and rock on. What are your thoughts regarding shutting down and standing up and all that jazz?
Well, I think we tend to think of those things as something bad.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talk to people, they relate to it as something's wrong, something's bad because you're having, this up or down. And again, we are a frequency, so there's going to be up and there's going to be down, and that's actually normal.
That makes
sense. Now, do they need to be like this? No. But can we get to a place where they're more like this? And that's what my goal is in my life and people that I talk to. But as far as this darkness, everybody has a connotation around that, but I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as part of us. That we're in a duality. We're in a positive and negative bipolar existence in this 3D. I'm gonna go quantum physics on you, but and so people see that as a good.
And our body is 3D. We got spirit, soul, and body.
Yes, we do. So there's a negative pole and a positive pole.
Yes.
And if you think of it like a battery, we are literally like a battery.
We are.
So that negative part that we call the dark, and it's not dark like evil or bad. It's just is what it is. Like when you turn the light off, do you think, oh, this is evil? No, it's just dark.
And we sleep better when it's dark.
Yes. So there's a purpose for it.
Yeah.
There's a meaning. Well, we make a meaning to it, and that's part of the process. Is what are you making it mean?
Yeah.
And are you making it mean something positive in your life that's empowering? Or are you making it mean something that's going to keep you low? I have somebody very close to me that's going through a lot of negative stuff, and I keep when I'm asked to counsel, because I'm not always asked to counsel, and it's very hard just to sit and watch, but it's his journey, So watching it happen and knowing this is such a blessing and a he's like the little bud that's starting to have little flowers pop, the petals pop out, but right now he doesn't see it that way. It's just all bad because he's, contracted. And those contractions, or you think of them as dark times, they're really just contractions for the expansion. So, I explained to people, like when you're going to jump, if you're like here and you just jump, you're not going to jump very high.
Nope.
But if you bend your knees and contract down and then jump, then you jump way higher. So all of these dark times or darkness or shutting down are contractions, and how you relate to them is the lesson.
That's good.
How you're seeing it, how you're experiencing it, and how you're letting it be empowering or disempowering. And it's all a choice. It's 100% a choice. So knowing you have that choice, remembering you have that choice is what's important.
And that's what happens. We don't remember we have the choice because when you get entangled in your emotions, I just had a situation recently, as a matter of fact, in business. And I felt it in the beginning, but I ignored it because I like to help everybody. Ding, ding, ding. Trust your gut. And anyhow, it ended up being something that was pulled away and didn't take place. But the repercussion of that was that person's perspective spread, and other people receiving that perspective which has nothing to do with them whatsoever and would not even apply to them.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that influence,
Mm-hmm.
but because they come from a place where I can see the trauma, I can see their emotions, they've got a little bit of paranoia.
Mm-hmm.
There's these things happening that some would see as a dark film, but they just can't see clearly
Mm-hmm.
because they're seeing through their experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, but it's the same thing. All I'm sharing is that your perspective. So I see what happened, but perspective-wise, I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I'm learning. I learned from that frequency,
Mm-hmm.
from that dark veil,
Mm-hmm.
that, hey, that's actually not even true.
Mm-hmm.
But that's their truth, and I can't change it, even though it's literally factually not true.
Right.
Because they don't want to change.
Right. We have a whole world going through that right
Yes.
now. But, people think, the world is in chaos and everything's crazy and everything. Chaos is different than randomness. And right now we are in chaos, but that's a good thing, because in chaos, there's also a purpose and a mission in chaos.
Yeah.
So think of like Grand Central Station. And if you're standing above Grand Central Station, it's chaos. People running here, there. But every one of those people,
they know where they're going, what train they're getting.
Has a mission and knows what they're doing. But complete randomness would be, if you hollered fire in that Grand Central Station,
a wrench in it.
Everybody would be just running randomly any place.
Yeah.
And there's no mission, there's no purpose, there's no direction that they're going. And so all of this is chaotic, but it's not random.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that.
So just look at it from that chaos is actually preparing for, it's a contraction. It can be a contraction, but it's preparing for the
expansion.
The bigger expansion, yes. So
that makes sense.
So all these things that we attribute this bad, like this person I'm talking about, it's just it is one thing after another after another after another.
That can weigh heavy on the heart when you're looking for either a solution or support in a way you don't even realize you need support, or maybe you don't want support, but yet you need support, all those things.
Well, in this particular situation, and what I would, have people think about is life is not happening to you. You're part of it. You're creating it, and you're creating all of your life, and that's very difficult for some people to swallow. They really,
it is.
They really, that's just awful. I did not create the car wreck I was in. Well, you did, but that's a whole nother set of topic we can get in. But like what are all the things that led up to that particular moment? And there's a lot of places where your choice it was directly involved in how this eventually turned out.
It's true, and even in the circumstance where I was years ago, I remember shutting the door. I had to go get some MRIs and things like quickly. The doctor that a friend called, because they had a doctor friend, they panicked. They're on the phone with me. If that's happened, la 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 la. And even though I was a lot younger, I knew instinctively, I am not engaging in your, you're crazy, because I need peace, and those are just pieces for me, even though they were authority figures. I was like, no. And so they did get me in, thank goodness, they did get me in to see like a high-ranking specialist in that area that day, which was miraculous. This person's retired now, but they were like a big deal. And they gave me their percentages on what would happen in my life later, based on what occurred and all those things.
Yeah.
Which I listened, but I'm thinking, I will just say, this is where, there are people that come to know God in a very stable, calm, quiet place where they just sit and they listen and then they go back. But I came to know God in the crazy, run the roads, hallelujah, let's shout off the roof.
Mm-hmm.
But I would not have made it had I not,
Mm-hmm.
because I needed that kind of frequency to push through what was coming at me,
Yeah.
left and right and left and right. And everything I'd gone through was very dark perspectives and all the negativity and all the abuse and all those things. So I was already coming from that. So God knew I needed something to go, oh, no, you don't. And I pushed back, right? And so, and I did. I did not allow anyone to come to me to the hospital to get my testing. Several times I didn't let anybody go with me. I went by myself, all by my little lonesome down at the medical center in Houston, Texas. Which was a big, it's scary anyway for those that aren't familiar with it.
It is.
And
can be.
Went through all that all alone, but still felt at peace and felt like I could maintain my peace that way, because, and honestly, I'll be honest, now I realize it's because I wasn't strong enough to not engage in the negativity that would be in my surroundings.
Yeah.
Now I'm stronger. I was always stronger, but now I know I'm stronger. Now I'm with someone that has that kind of thing. I can catch myself before I come into full agreement. See, I can feel it right now. I feel the negativity. I can say no, and I don't have to engage in it now. But then I was like, I had to separate myself in order to not engage. But that's more an immature place than it is a mature place, right? Like to me, you develop. To me, that was this is how I take in my relationship with God. To me, that shows me that I was undeveloped in love in that area. Because fully loving myself and fully loving even the negative person would have allowed them to come with me.
Yeah.
But I wasn't developed.
Let them be who they are. And,
yes.
And, that's really the goal, is being able to stand in the hurricane and be at peace while you're in the hurricane.
Yeah, and I was not. I was like, I need a brick wall around me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting. I went to on vacation. I was gone for a couple of weeks. And when I came back to the clinic, I heard some rumblings of some things that happened while I was gone.
Of course, you were gone.
Yeah, that didn't make me happy. And I walked into my clinic on Monday. I got in on a Friday. I walked in on Monday, and energetically it hit me like a brick wall. It really did. And it laid me out for 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very. Some
strong.
Yeah, it was very.
Things.
Well, I was just, because I feel like my clinic's a safe place.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really protecting, putting that kind of protection.
You didn't have boundaries on yourself because it's yours.
Yes.
That makes sense.
And I walked into a hornet's nest, basically. And, during that 3 days, I was in that place of, wow. And I didn't really understand why I was feeling that way. I didn't know the particulars of things that happened. But I've since found out and all that. But it was very interesting, just even if you don't know why, like it can hit you. And instead of, honoring that as something's really wrong, I just really got curious about, something's going on. Something's going on
in my own house.
I don't know clearly what it is in this moment. I will just sit with it. And the information came, and it was actually, once it was all
out in the open and resolved.
It was actually everything was better afterwards.
Oh, good.
So some people got stuck in places, and it's like when your car's stuck in the mud, you need the little push to get it out, and then it goes.
Yes.
This was that. This was that push. And it wasn't for me, but I was like behind the wheel, and the mud was splattering all over me.
Mud on Cammie does not look good.
I can rock some mud. But it was interesting, and I was not expecting that. And I think because I was such a calm, centered place when I got home, that I was able to withstand it. But it was an interesting return home. But I understand that that needing to push back, or feeling like you need to push back. And the good thing is I can push back because I'm the boss. But, you know, in places where you're not the boss, you still might have to push back.
You have to wait and see.
Yeah. So it's not always, it's actually, I feel like it's never a bad thing. It's never a bad thing.
I agree. It's all about perspective.
It is. It really is.
Growing in your perspective.
Yes, and just getting curious. Mm-hmm. If that's the one thing I could say today that has gotten me through everything is to be curious. I wonder why. Instead of just jumping to a meaning that I create and make, and it's a story, and I'm living in it like it's true, and it may be true, it may not be true. It's only true because I say it's true. Yep. You know, we get to make a story up, so just make something up that's empowering instead of something that's not.
No, I agree.
But we are conditioned, programmed. We got all these programs running that has us. That's our go-to.
Yeah. No, it's true. I was just talking about that was either this morning? No, it was yesterday in the women's group. I was talking about changing your own narrative. When you see it, change it. Yeah. Change the story you're telling yourself. Yeah. And I used to tell people years ago, you know, right now you don't believe in you. But you can lean into my believing in you until you do believe in you, because I really do believe in you. And then over time, you'll build your own trust in yourself so that you don't need my belief in you anymore. And sometimes, depending on what's going on, I think sometimes we all need someone to believe in us and to believe with us. And there's no, that's not ego. That's not arrogance. That's not, oh, you poor thing, you need somebody to believe in you. That's a relationship. Relationship this way, and relationship this way, and relationship this way. So be encouraged in your journey, in how you're handling things. Right now, maybe you're going to stop and go, hey, wait, I can see myself moving in this direction, but that wasn't the direction, that's not the direction I even want to go in, and it's not what I've been wanting to do for years. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? Don't continue down that road just because you've been doing it for years. Yes. Say, whoa, and give yourself a permission to stop and sit with it and consider, how do I switch gears? And you might be able to go turn and that. Yep. But you might also have so many responsibilities and so many commitments that it would be extremely immature and sometimes illegal to make a change. And so that's where you have to just take pieces and just take incremental turns, but be in peace while you turn. Yes. So you don't make chaos along the way while you're switching gears to stand up from being shut down. Yeah. Yeah. And again, empowering yourself along the way by choosing where you are. Because I think most people suffer because they don't choose the life that they're in. Knowing and not remembering that they created that life in the first place. So choosing your life, like, you know, when there's affairs in a marriage, it's not that the people changed all that much, really. It's that, you know, typically it's somebody started paying attention to somebody else or getting attention from somebody else that they in an area of insecurity that they needed filled up, or they thought they did. So and I just don't like that guy anymore, or I just don't like her anymore. Yeah. What's required is choosing the life you're in as complete, whole, and perfect, versus I hate this life. This is not what I want to do. This is terrible. No, choose it and then be curious about why you're still choosing it and how you got there. Yeah. Yeah. I have a situation like that where I'm looking at something that I chose, and I'm realizing, do I really want to continue choosing it? And I'm asking myself, on one hand, it's financially probably going to be just really easy to do, but yet at the same time, was that one of those random things that came across my pathway? that I said yes to without consideration. Mm-hmm. And will the payoff be worth it? Or will the sacrifice that I have to give it, because I could be giving more time here, which would be more in the space of the intention that I hold in my life. So I'm looking at something like that. Wow. And I'm thankful that I'm looking at it. And I'm thankful I'm turning, because I'm cognizant that will be a cog in my wheel in 5 years.
Well, it's interesting that you say how you describe that. In people that's in a program at our clinic, they start their program, and then immediately, I would say 30-40% of people say, oh, but I have this thing, I want to put my program on pause,
on hold,
so I can go do this other thing, and I want to put it on. No, welcome to your program. This is exactly, I would argue, this is what you do in your life all over the place, because we do our life the same everywhere. It might show up and look a little different, but we do our lives the same. So if there's something that you chose,
it's because I've always chosen weird, random things coming along my pathway. And I'm learning to change that program. I just want you to know.
Yes. But my point is, if you chose something and then you start getting confronted, or there's something, and I'm not saying your situation.
Yeah, you're fine.
But if you choose something and then all of a sudden, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know why I chose this. Really look at that, because you're confronted. There's a lesson in here. There's something that is just presenting itself for you, and you could push through this, and it could make a big difference.
You're right.
Like when we first
we're getting the roundups. We got about 45 seconds.
Okay,
but we're doing good. We're gonna take this into the next show.
Yeah, we'll pick it up later.
We'll have a part 2, and I think we'll also, in our next show, talk about Dr. Cammie's clinic. So if you're in the local area, you'd be able to call and just say you saw the information here on this show. So we bless you and thank you for being with us. And I challenge you to go from shutting down to standing up. Bye.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining Your New Day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Cammie Owen. We look forward to seeing you next time. Remember, we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one, and maybe it's yours. Until soon.